In this video, we will see how Ackoff applies his definitions for systems concepts to an organization. Ackoff considers organizations to have four essential characteristics. Number one, an organization is a purposeful system that contains at least two purposeful elements that have a common purpose. An aggregation of purposeful entities does not constitute an organization unless they have at least one common purpose. That is, unless there is some one or more things that they all want. An organization is always organized around this common purpose. It is the relationships between what the purposeful elements do and the pursuit of their common purpose that give unity and identity to the organization. In other words, organization must have a goal that the elements that compose the organization work together to achieve. Without a common purpose, the elements would not work together unless compelled to do so. An organization thus consists of elements that have and can exercise their own wills. The second part of the criteria is that an organization has a functional division of labor in pursuit of the common purpose of its elements that define it. Each of two or more subsets of elements, each containing one or more purposeful elements, is responsible for choosing among different courses of action. A choice from each subset is necessary for obtaining the common purpose. The classes of courses of action and hence the subsets of elements may be differentiated by a variety of types of characteristics. For example, you could differentiate them by function, such as production, marketing, finance, research, etc., by space, in other words where they are geographically located, as well as the territories in which they operate, and by time. The classes of action may, of course, also be defined by combinations of these and other characteristics. It should be noted that individuals or groups in an organization that make choices need not take them, that is, carry them out. The actions may be carried out by other persons, groups, or even machines that are controlled by the decision makers. Part 3. The functionally distinct subsets, in other words, parts of the system, can respond to each other's behavior through observation or communication. In other words, they must be related in terms of communication. The choices made by elements or subsets of an organization must be capable of influencing each other, otherwise they would not even constitute a system. In other words, the output from one subsystem must at least influence the behavior of the other subsystem. At least one subset of the system has a system control function. This subset or subsystem compares achieved outcomes with desired outcomes and makes adjustments in the behavior of the system which are directed toward reducing the observed deficiencies. In other words, you need to act, or the system needs to act, on the inputs and outputs between the different systems in order to control the system. It also determines what the desired outcomes are. The control function is normally exercised by an executive body which operates on a feedback principle. Control requires elucidation. An element or system controls another element or system, or itself if it's got a feedback loop, if its behavior is either necessary or sufficient for subsequent behavior of the other element or system or itself, and the subsequent behavior is necessary or sufficient for the attainment of one or more of its goals. In summary then, Ackoff defines an organization as follows. An organization is a purposeful system that contains at least two purposeful elements, in other words, elements that are related, which have a common purpose relative to which the system has a functional division of labor. Its functionally distinct subsets can respond to each other's behavior through observation or communication, and at least one subset has a system control function. Once again, it is useful to have a visual description of an organization, and this diagram here visually defines the same information that Ackoff has just spoken about. Once again, an organization exists within an environment. That environment will provide information and resources to the organization. These enter the system as inputs from other systems, and then within the system you must have at least two subsystems which are related. In this case, you can see there are three subsystems, all of which are related. These subsystems may be units, they may be departments, and they may be functions. Outputs from this system then must fulfill the role and purpose of your system, in other words your organization, in the higher level system in which it's contained. And there you can see that the feedback from the output process is taken back into the system so that you may optimize your processes within. It is important to remember, of course, that subsystems may form a hierarchy of wholes, and this can be seen in the following diagram, where you can see that the division of the organization into different levels or hierarchies is possible. For example, in this diagram here, the value chain, which is shown as a subsystem within the business over here, may be exploded to view the different processes within that value chain. And then, once again, even within that, there may be a hierarchy of wholes, as can be seen here, where the product and service sold has different facets, such as customer relationship management, demand, etc. And these levels may continue downwards, and you can get a finer and a finer grain view of the different processes within the organization, which are ultimately viewed at an abstract level as higher level subsystems. That then completes our overview of Ackoff's work and Ackoff's view of the organization as a system.